You already said that it's not allowed to put an earth on it. You stupid motherfucker.
Feasible of wire, possible, and the shortest length. You don't want it to be too long. You don't want it to become a resonant element. So you get the shortest, heaviest to a copper ground rod embedded into the earth. That's your best solution. You don't want to go into you divert.
Hold on, he's trying to show me up.
To a circuit. You don't want the house to become
I know that. He don't.
a circuit is not a good idea for an earth. It works, but I have no outlet in this room. Of a receptacle. The best bet is to use a separate independent ground rod. Yeah, I can't do it now. Electronics to that ground bus. That's the proper way to do it. Those C-clamps, right to the base of the radiator. Listen, Enforcer, he lives in an apartment building just like you. He doesn't live in a private house like I do. And in order to do that with a ground rod, yeah, we all know that. That's the correct way and only way to get you the earth ground that you want. But unfortunately, his situation is just like your situation is. You don't have an earth ground. You weren't able to. There's no grass by you in order to put it in the ground 10 feet. So you do the next best thing. You go to your receptacle that's in the apartment. And that's how you get your ground, And if you don't want to use the house receptacle, you can go to the radiator, which is a cast iron radiator, and you use a strap around the leg of the radiator, and where there's constantly water in it, and the water creates your ground. All right, I thought I was going to learn something new. That's why I gave you the 5 minutes. Actually, I do have I'm telling you what I'm using, not what I'm telling you I hear, or what can be used. This is what I'm using. I'm telling you what I'm using. You don't have to live in a house to have a ground rod. Yeah, well, you got to have your own property in order to drive it into the ground. I have that myself. And like I said, it's a 10-foot ground rod, copper-cladded steel rod. You drive it to the ground, and I got it at 6 inches. That's not everybody's scenario. If you want a good earth ground, yes. But if you live in a building and you can't get to the receptacle, you don't want to use the receptacle, you definitely have a radiator that's a cast iron radiator with steam boiler, and then you have water in it, and that's just as good as earth ground to me. You got to remember, yes, a steam pipe is preferable, but if you do use it with a hose clamp, make sure where the wire makes contact to the pipe, you make sure it's sanded, it's not painted or rusted. You make sure you got good continuity. Yeah, absolutely. Metal to metal contact, yes. All right, you guys got it back. Tenfold.
Hey, Johnny.
Yes?
In the last, 11 months, I think that's the most civilized couple of transmissions that fucking douchebag ever put out of a station.
Well, listen, it's never too late to change. A douchebag. Look who's calling a douchebag, a crackhead. He won't have his time. It's the only thing that junkies for his time.
Okay, all right. I got the pin put back together. Give me a minute, I'll be back.
Tenfold. You hear, Richie? It's never too late to learn, Richie. Maybe you really don't want to fight with you. I'm trying to help Richie. The whole plan is never to fight with him. I'm just trying to help him. I never wanted to fight with him. I'm just trying to make him come clean, or help him come clean. My goal out here is not to hurt Richie. I like Richie. Richie's a good guy. He's a funny guy, but I'm just trying to help him out with his addiction and his psychosis, that's all. It was never about fighting with the man. Everyone got it twisted out here. I just don't understand. Anyway, I'll be on the side. yeah, go back to 40.
Another happy fucking first time custody. Yeah.
What happened? Where are you, Frankie? We'll hit him up with a message. Charlie, you see any whitetail lately?
I'm the king.
Oh, yeah.
Yo, that thing sound real good, boy.
I just sent him a nice message. He should be on. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning time. I see all police on Channel 31. Good evening, good afternoon. Is it evening already? Oh, shit. It's dark already? What the fuck, man? So what time is it? It's dark early these days, huh? I wonder why my lineage is not operating. I know why. There we go. That's better. I'll be here on the side. I'll be listening to Richie 127 and Mike Bababui and all the other good Diopolis out there on the man. The Unit 201 standing by. Okay, what's up there, 201? Yeah, nothing much. Nice, lazy, hazy day. Got a wedding to go to tomorrow. Just, I'd rather stay home. Wife says I gotta go. So, that's the big news. That's all. I'll be on the side. Yes, they're out there. The root babies are on the band. Okay, I'm gonna go munch out. I'll be back in a little bit. I'm retired. I'm gonna go make something. Catch you guys a little while. I'm clear.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
75, the way to go. Don't solder the connector. You know, just make sure when you screw, you gotta put a little bead on the tip every time you screw it back down, but make sure that when you screw it down, the ground is really good. And if you keep doing an inch at a time and putting the connector back on, whatever you're interfering with, he will totally disappear because the coax length is resonant. If you spent a couple of dollars, I got a couple of those RF chokes, snap chokes from Radio Shack, clip them right on those speaker wires for them people and you disappear anyway. So for $4 you can eliminate your headache if you're not smart enough to eliminate your coax acting as an antenna before it gets to the antenna. Hope that information was a help. If you need to verify it, you're welcome to do so. I forget the name of the publisher, but the author is Sterling. The book is All About Radio.
Give out suggestions, the more I scratch my head. Wow, save on a mess, save on a mess. I never heard of an antenna coax acting resonant or acting like a radiating element. No such thing.
Well, common sense, dude. When your belief is that you're going to change the you're going to change the SWR by the coax, that ought to be self-explanatory right there and show you that the fucking cable length resonates. Okay, if the cable length is a certain feet of multiples, it creates ground loops. Once it creates ground loop, it becomes resonant. I'm on the side, man.
Create a ground loop with a piece of coax. You explain that to me. A piece of 50 ohm coax is 50 ohms. It doesn't resonate, nor do you create ground loops. You have you have an antenna which acts as a load. If it's ideal 50 ohms, all right, equivalent to a 50 ohm dummy load, then you have no problem. The only element should resonate is your antenna itself. Once the coax, which is 50 ohms, the input of the radio, which is 50 ohms, the antenna, which is 50 ohms, once all three satisfy one another, you have what's called a one-to-one SWR. It has nothing to do with coax radiating or the length of the coax. That's totally wrong.
Let me ask you a question, Mr. Enforcer, because I'm getting a little headache here with guys like you. But all joking aside, the coax is positive and negative, which means there's a positive and there's also a ground, which is a negative. So what you're telling me is that the center wire of that coax, when it's connected to that antenna, okay, you're telling me that that center piece that's connected to the hot lead in your antenna can never radiate or act as an antenna before that signal gets to the antenna, sir? Am I clear to understand that you're telling me that the 50 ohm coax, it doesn't matter what the length is, it won't act as a radiating element?
That's exactly what I'm saying. The center conductor of your coax does not resonate. It's called the transmission.
That's your transmission line. So that is not supposed to act as a resonant element. That's why your antenna is your resonant element. That's the only part that's supposed to resonate. Now, if you have a poor shield or a poor shielding situation from your coax or either connector, then you have a problem with RFI. That's due to poor shielding or improperly shielded coax or a break in the shielding. But other than that, your antenna, your coax does not radiate or resonate, put it that way. The only time you're going to cause RFI is if you have poor shielding or use poorly shielded coax.
Well, you know what, Mr. Enforcer, there was actually 2 sentences in there that corroborated everything I said, and you were too stupid to realize what it is you're saying. So I'm going to get back out of this conversation, and if my words, which I related to you, sound wrong to you, kindly take it up with the author and the publisher, okay? I'm on the side.
Well, it seems like you're just not willing to learn. Hey, if there's something you can teach me, I'm willing to learn. I'm not saying I know everything, but I won't give out improper, suggestions or information. And if I hear it given out, I'm going to make that correction. So I don't know what book you're reading or who's giving you this false information, but coax does not resonate. I hate to tell you. Whether you want to believe that or understand it, that's not my problem. The issue is a coax does not resonate regardless of length, whether it's 12 feet, 1,200 feet, or 100 feet, or 50 feet. A 50-ohm coax is not supposed to act like a resonating element. That's the bottom line.
All right, I'll put it as polite as I could. Only when I'm on the job do I get paid to teach. Out here, I get paid to perform, show, and prove. You're saying what I'm saying is false, yet I've been living by these principles and utilizing them in hundreds of base operations. And you're telling me that the information that I have learned from other intel sources and publishers is false. And now you want to say that when you hear false information that you are willing to correct it right quick. Well, you know something, I'm not going to teach or try to explain to any individual who wants to come out here painting the next man up because of his skill, ability, and history as his drug buddy, his smoking buddy, his partner in crime, and talking like you're my ace, boom, cool, right-hand man. You know what I'm saying? When I'm talking like this, I ain't talking to school, you fucking monkey, junkie, chicken, punk, bitch, guy in the mic ass. I'm talking for the other people who appreciate their hobby. I'm on the side.
Richie, why you gotta get so hostile? I'm just trying to teach you something.
You got to teach yourself how to act and walk like a man first, and you might be able to get a little bit of credibility out here. Right now, your word ain't shit. You can battle me all day long, contradict what I'm saying. Problem is, I'm showing and proving it and putting them where they need to see it other than my mouth and lips.
There's no match, so I must be doing something right. I must be doing something if I destroy you with my 5-watt carrier over your 800 watts. So maybe the knowledge is putting into good use. So anyway, you do what you do with your ineffective station, and I do what I do with my 5-watt radio. And I think what I'm saying is actually not only correct, but proven, and not only in theory, but in principle. See, what I do and what I read, I apply. And sometimes something don't coincide, so you gotta wait a minute. Maybe this person is not 100% correct. Like for years, I give you a perfect example. The lowest SWR reading, unless you're using an analyzer, doesn't mean it's the most, the antenna at its best efficiency or most resonant. I don't think you can grasp what I'm trying to explain to you because of your extreme drug use. But to put it politely, don't believe everything you read.
Well, this is true, a partial point of it, but as far as the drug shit and your accusations, yeah, man. Like I said, Mr. Enforcer, your day will come. And your job out here, I don't know whether you realized it or not, but from day one, my son, you flunked and you failed. I'm back in the cut, guys. This pussy's yours.
I don't know what you're talking about, my job out here. I've been out here over 30 years. I have many friends out here on the radio, so I don't need your approval. nor need your criticism. But if you don't want to believe what I have to tell you, you don't want my teachings to help you to better your career as a technician, a so-called one, then let it be then. But don't say I never try to help. Exactly, you know what I mean, Nitro? I'm trying to be as polite as possible. I'm trying to help cats out there. And, look, you know, I have many years of experience on the radio. Richie's trying to claim I'm out here for 9 months, but, you know, I won't even get into that because that's all total nonsense. But, yeah, you're right, sometimes.
Richie says you've been terrorizing the channel for 9 to 10 months. Not that you've been out here 9 months, you fucking douchebag. I'm on the side.
9 months, 10 months, Richie, try 30 years. You just hate when the truth hurts, man. You hate the fact that you and Shadow Master are in spitting distance of each other and I talk over you. That eats you alive. I know it's envy, man. Don't envy me. Embrace the knowledge, brother. Don't hate.
What he hates the most is that it's coming out of you.
I know. He can't accept that because he pictures me as one of his crackhead buddies or junkie methadone users or partners, you know. I keep telling him I'm a civil servant. I don't use drugs. Never did, never will. He just hates that, man. He really hates it. I don't know why. You know, I don't know why he has such hate for me. Well, I'm just trying to help the cat. Hey, Nitro, you know me, man. I give you the shirt off my back. I give you half of my plate of food.
I'm so glad that there's everybody out here that smoke crack with Richie. I mean, you know, we're looking for the cats that smoke crack and do all these narcotics, and I think we're finding it in Enforcer and crew. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little wrong here.
You know, his drug use, I could help him with, or I can, you know, I can't say I sympathize with a drug user because there's no excuse for drug use.
He's such a good Samaritan. I wonder how many other people out here he'd like to help who smokes a little grass.
Lead you to his damnation and suffering. That's all drug use does. Nobody, you don't hear anyone as a kid say, when I grow up I want to be a junkie or a crackhead. You know, and I'm not.
Oh, wow, man. This is a deja vu from NYC Radio Wars Truth and Justice video. To the T. Yes, sir. First sign of drug use is constantly repeating yourself and constantly telling the same lie story over and over. I don't know.
Out of his mouth yesterday with his delusional fantasies was actually alarming, man. I was like, shit. I mean, he's come up with some horrific tales, but the shit that was coming out of his mouth yesterday was really scary, man.
It's all on Videogate.
I mean, he was actually talking about his pardon with the former president, that Secretary of State. I mean, the shit that was coming out of his mouth, I was like, my fucking head was spinning. I thought I was on drugs for a minute. I was like, am I really hearing this guy say all of this? Does he really believe this, or is he just joking, man? I mean, his psychosis is becoming to the point where it's being so elevated and expanded beyond realism. I'm like, where the hell is he going with this? He really honestly needs help. I'm not being funny. I'm not being sarcastic. He really needs help. He needs someone to bring him right now to a medical facility and be committed for several months and evaluated. And hit with heavy dosage of psych medicine, man, because, I mean, the stuff coming out of his mouth, I couldn't believe I was hearing.
Oh, yeah. I know. Let me tell you, man. For my professional...
What happens when these cats find out it's 100% true and that Richie's real and all this is not fantasy but reality in the USA? I hate to see what kind of spin tails they're going to spin doctor up or assumptions they're going to assume then. Oh, well.
See, the scary part is he actually believes what he says. You know, if he said right now he's Ronald Reagan's son, or he's Evel Knievel.
I'm not Ronald Reagan's son. but I was in the room for a little while sitting with the Secret Service agent that was guarding him. I apologize. If that sounds far out or far-fetched, well, I guess you'll have to ask the agents who were at his bedside.
Whether it's Frankie White or Beretta or whatever character he claims at any given time, he actually believes it, that it is true, it's really him. And that's a scary thought.
You know what? I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this out of experience, man. What I've seen. You know where I work, you know what I do.
Yeah, and it turns you into an emotional, disturbed person. I bet those narcotics you juiced them clowns up with is what got you acting like that.